Hi, welcome to episode 9 of the Wellness Connection with Fiona Kane. I'm Fiona Kane, and today I'm going to be talking to you about energy, lots of different aspects of energy, where you get it from, where you can be losing it, how to maintain it, all of those things. So today is just purely focused on energy. And this is something that a topic that I know well because I've got Hashimoto's thyroid disease and I've chronic low iron and all sorts of things that I know a lot of other people have as well. So this is a topic that's close to my heart. I haven't got it figured it all out, got it perfect, but I've got lots of strategies. So I'm going to launch right in because I've got this kind of information heavy today. Sorry, but that's like if you've got issues with your energy, you're going to love it because there's lots of suggestions, lots of information. So, look, I would begin just by saying, obviously, you need to get it checked from a doctor as well, right? There's a whole lot of reasons why you can be low on energy. And if you are able to go and have a health check, just all the general checkup and blood tests to check to make sure you don't have thyroid disease or uh, iron deficiency or B12 deficiency or any kind of the obvious causes of low energy, it is good to rule all that out. And even if some of it's ruled in, some of these strategies will be helpful. But obviously, if it's being caused by an iron deficiency, you need to take iron and some vitamin C to help you absorb the iron, and eat iron-rich foods and address your gut issues, that kind of thing. Or if it's B12, you'll need to take B12, or you might need injections, or whatever it is. Okay, so obviously address the medical side of this, and if there's any kind of just clear causes that need to be addressed. Otherwise, I'm kind of just going to be looking at all of the other strategies that you can use that can be supportive of your energy. But yeah, this isn't instead of getting checked out at the doctors, but this is as well as, or just an extra strategies that you can use. Anyway, so I'm going to start from a nutrition and what you put in your body perspective. So many of us don't think about what we put in our body. When you think about it, what you put in your body is what provides the energy. It's what provides everything because our body constantly breaks everything down and makes new stuff again. So we make new muscle and new bone and new skin and new hair. And you think about it, you need to put in the ingredients, and your body actually, if you think about it too, it's pretty amazing. Like, we can sleep and our heart still beats and we still breathe and all these things still happen to keep us alive, but that all takes energy. So even just being alive, your body's using an enormous amount of energy all of the time. And so you really need to provide the energy in it. And we understand that with our cars. I'll say this over and over again, but we understand it with our cars. We'll even go so far as to sort of put like the 98 fuel or whatever it is, the quality, more expensive fuel in our car because, oh, we can't put dodgy fuel in, it's going to affect the performance of the car. And then we stop at the drive-through on the way home and get a cola and a burger or something, or some fries. Again, like I said, you can't replace your body, you can replace your car. So I would suggest you look at what you put in your body, understand that it's actually providing the energy and it's providing the building blocks that your body needs to make things. So making things like neurotransmitters that make you feel happy and balanced in your brain, or like I said, skin, hair, that kind of thing, right? So some of the things to look at if you're feeling tired. So look at dehydration. So many people don't drink enough water. So sometimes when you're kind of just getting that brain fog and that general fatigue, sometimes all you need is water. And even sometimes when you're getting a headache, sometimes when people are getting a headache, they have a Panadol, with the water, and it's actually the water that solved the problem because it was dehydration. So I would suggest just making sure you're drinking plenty of water. Most people, that might be 2 or 3 liters a day. It depends on the individual. If your urine is fairly, it doesn't have to be clear, but if it's not all fuzzy and foggy and smelling super funky or anything, then generally it's all right. But it's when it's a really dark color that you get the clue. The darker it is, the more clue that you're dehydrated. If you're taking B vitamins, it will be bright yellow. That's a whole different thing. But if it's generally fairly clearish, you could kind of read something that was on the other side of it. Then you're getting enough water. But if it's on the dark side or you're feeling discomfort when you go, there's clue there that you might not be drinking enough water. So not enough food. It's a really big issue that people, we're kind of starving ourselves for a whole bunch of reasons. Everyone thinks that the biggest issue we have in our society is too much food. And it is a problem, but not enough is just as much of a problem and can cause, depending on the situation, can cause weight loss or can cause weight gain, actually. So it just depends on the situation, the person, what's going on in their body. But not enough food is another one, and get advice from someone like me if you're not quite sure what enough food is for you. But if you're kind of not having 3 meals a day, there's a clue. Or if your meals are enough to sustain a rabbit, but not a human being, we really need to eat enough food. If you're tired, look at, are you drinking enough water? Look at, are you eating enough food? Um, then the next one is actually not enough balance of the right nutrients. And this is a really big one because so many people are protein deficient. So many people don't eat enough protein. And protein is required for everything in the body, including energy. And so it's really, really important to make sure that you have protein with every meal. Because the other thing that can cause you to feel tired is if your blood sugar levels drop. And there's a few things that will cause those blood sugar level drops, but one of them is actually not enough protein, because when we eat protein, like if we have protein with a meal, it tends to keep our blood glucose quite stable to the next meal. And so rather than having that big drop before the next meal, you kind of just go smoothly and kind of just start getting a bit hungry and then it's time to eat. But if we have big blood sugar drops, then that really drops our energy and makes us really crave carbs and sugar. So having protein with a meal helps keep stable to the next meal. So whether that be chicken or fish or beef or tofu or whatever your favorite protein is, eggs, nuts, seeds, but protein with the meal. Cheese is an example, yogurt. Um, the other thing though is also how much carb you're eating in the meal. So if you're eating an enormous something that's just like if you have a fruit juice is completely carbohydrate. Or if it's a cola or something like that, that's just completely sugar, right? If you just have that, that is going to make your blood sugar go right up and then it's going to drop right down. And you are going to feel tired after that and be craving food. So the level of carbohydrate or sugar in your diet, if you're having a really carbohydrate heavy meal, or drink or whatever it is, and not really having the protein to balance it out and not really having any other nutrients. I'll talk about the other nutrients in a moment that can balance it out. You will get the high and then you will get the low. And when you get the low, you'll be tired. And a lot of people are tired because they're simply just eating these carb things all day. They have kind of the sandwich and then have the muffin and then they have the cereal for breakfast and having the juice and then they're having the, whatever, just like pasta or rice or whatever, but they're just having carb, 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 carb all day. And if you're doing that, what's happening is you go up, down, up, down, up, down. And this will make you tired regularly throughout the day, but also just generally it will just have an effect on you that you will be tired. Uh, the other foods, though, that help balance you out to your next meal. So one I said was protein. The other one is fiber. So the fiber that you get in your vegetables or in some fruit, or in some grains, depending on, some people can eat grains and some people challenge. It's a challenge. It's okay as long as you're getting fiber from somewhere. But essentially that fiber does keep you going to your next meal. But there needs to be some protein in there as well. So fiber is part of it, but protein is the most important part. The other thing is fat. So when you've got fats and oils in your meal, and I'm talking about the natural kind, the stuff that actually just naturally, that's the stuff that your great grandmother would recognize as food. So whether it be olive oil or whether it be butter or whether it be the fat that naturally comes in fish or chicken or whatever, um, nuts and seeds, eggs, avocado, all of that, just the natural fats that just come in natural, healthy, good quality foods. All of the fat, what it does is it kind of slows down that blood sugar spike. So again, it just keeps you going really smoothly to your next meal. So when you have that meal and you've got protein and you've got good quality like carbohydrates that are really high in fiber, so you've got your greens and it might be a rice cake or something like that as well. I don't know, and or a little bit of fruit, and then you also got some good fats in there. So you've got some olive oil or you've got some avocado. Avocado is actually amazing for helping balance your blood glucose levels and kind of calm things down in a meal. It's really good for people who have diabetes. It's a really useful tool to have in a meal. Is avocado. So when you kind of balance the meal that way, you tend to not have the big blood sugar drop, which will make you feel tired. So some of the other things that we need to know, and obviously too, how whether you get tired will relate to the amount of carbohydrate you need to eat is different for different people. If you're running marathons or if you're out on a road work in a 40-degree day and you're a 6'5" man, compared to me who's like 5 foot tall sitting in an office, we need different amounts of it. So you might be tired because you're not eating enough carbohydrate as well. Low carb diets can be really, really useful, and I don't really ever recommend super high carbohydrate diets, which is what most standard diets are. But you need to adjust your carbohydrate level based on your needs. So it could be that you're not eating enough carbs, so you might need to add in some more of that sweet potato or whatever it might be for you. So it's kind of that whole getting that balance right. If you have a problem with that, book in to see me and I can help you. So the other thing is like, okay, overdoing caffeine. I know that caffeine gives you energy in the short term, but long term, it can cause the opposite. It can actually make you quite fatigued, and it puts your body in that fight, flight, stress mode. And that, again, that can give you that boost, but it also gives you that drop. So it's one of those things that's kind of useful, and then it has the opposite effect. And if you're having it all of the time and relying on it as your only source of energy, then you're really kind of messing with that sort of energy systems of your body, and you're going to end up really sort of chronically fatigued. So don't rely on just caffeine to give you energy, and especially caffeine in a green tea or in one or two coffees a day or whatever. That's for a lot of people. For most people, that's fine. But these kind of like Max drinks, like Pepsi Max, it's double the caffeine, or any kind of pre workout or anything that kind of like, well, Mother or those stupid uh, things. And there's a fat out at the moment. I think there's a couple of YouTubers who are really famous with the young people. With the young people, makes me sound so old. I can't remember what it's called, but they've got something out at the moment that's selling off the shelves because they're obviously just really good salespeople. But it's a whole bunch of caffeine, not good for your kids or you. But yeah, just be aware of the caffeine content and how much that's affecting you. Also, your caffeine can really affect your sleep, and people often think it's not, but when they back off the caffeine and their sleep gets better, they go, oh, wow, okay. There are people who are very clearly affects their sleep, but they can affect your sleep even if you don't realize it is. It might be affecting your quality of sleep. The next thing is making sure that I sort of hinted at it before, but you're eating good quality fats and oils in your diet. So the things I talked about before, stuff that your great grandmother would recognize as food. So it would be cold pressed extra virgin olive oil, real butter, like the hard stuff that that comes in the pack. What does come in like the as aluminium foil or whatever it is? It's the foil sort of package. Um, and so just that hard block butter, and the fat that comes naturally in eggs, in meats, in fish, in nuts and seeds, all that jazz. So just natural fats and avocado, just natural fats that come from your diet. And yes, things like coconut oil are fine as well, but the fats that can really cause problems in the body are the vegetable kind of and seed oils. So they call them vegetable oils, but they're not made from broccoli. They're seed oils. So they're things like canola, cottonseed oil, or if any kind of hydrogenated, partially hydrogenated trans fat, if they use any of those kinds of words. Basically, poor quality oils it's what you'll get in all kind of takeaways and junk foods pretty much. And it's the sort of thing that if you get it in the supermarket in a clear plastic bottle and it's $2, it's not a good quality oil. If it comes in a glass dark bottle, it's more, and it's sort of cold pressed, it's more likely to be a better oil. But generally speaking, you can't go wrong with cold pressed extra virgin olive oil and just real foods, right? So, but those nasty fats can really cause a lot of energy issues if you're eating a lot of that kind of thing. Uh, the next thing is just like in general, junk food. Junk food is high in sugar, so blood sugar is going to go up and it's going to go down, and it's high in those poor quality fats, which kind of just make you tired and can sort of start to drive things like insulin resistance, which will cause that blood sugar change and which will cause the tiredness, plus other health issues. Um, so if you're eating junky foods, obviously they don't have the nutrition that you need to have energy, and they've got a whole bunch of other things in there that will kind of drain on your energy. So basically, junk foods are an energy drain ultimately, whereas nutritious foods are an energy boost. So it's kind of just looking at it that way. Um, Also, be aware of how much alcohol you're having. Again, alcohol, a little bit, maybe a little bit of red wine, whatever, it can have its advantages. But generally speaking, when it's sort of you're putting pressure on your liver, and if you've already got kind of insulin resistance or fatty liver or things like that, then the alcohol is not a good idea. But if you're generally healthy and you're having a little bit that works for you, that's fine. But just be aware, it actually helps you get to sleep, but it will wake you up a couple of hours later when it's detoxing, when your liver's kind of metabolizing it. So just be aware that it can too much alcohol. It's kind of like a lot of things. It's about how much is too much. Well, it depends on your body, depends on what works for you. But I would just recommend to just be really aware of how much alcohol you're drinking and if that's affecting your energy. I know when I was drinking a lot, it affect my energy because I'd be feeling awful the next day, and so I'd just be dragging myself around for a couple of days, recovering every time I had too much to drink. So how much is too much? Depends on you. But if you're drinking every day, there's a clue that you already probably got to too much. If you're asking yourself the question, there's another clue. There are government websites that tell you how much, but just having awareness around that, they usually recommend you have at least two, maybe three alcohol-free nights or days every week. Um, Let me just see. Okay, so I talked about before vitamin and mineral deficiencies. So if you're deficient in nutrients, that will affect you. So it's good to get a blood test to see that, or to see a nutritionist who can tell a lot of things by symptoms as well, but also can tell you whether or not supplements or certain foods or things you need to eat to boost your nutrition. You also need to, I hinted at it before, but make sure your gut's working well, because if you're not absorbing your nutrition, or if your gut's just having struggles, then that will likely make you feel tired. So, again, see a nutritionist like me, or if you need to book in with doctors and specialists and people like that to help with your gut issues. But we really need to resolve gut issues so that we can absorb the important nutrients that we need. So, that's kind of looking at, I kind of just looked at the kind of what you put in your body, the nutrition kind of thing. But I just also want to look at other things in regards to energy. So I know that a really big drain of energy for people, there's a few of them, but one of them is other people, right? And of course, we're going to be around other people and we need to interact with other people and all of the rest of it. But I would suggest to you that you be aware of who are the people that drain energy in your life, and you make decisions around that for yourself of what that looks like, whether or not you can limit that time with that person or not engage as much or whatever it looks like. Of course, sometimes it's family and sometimes it's your boss or whoever it is. I know there's challenges around this, but essentially be aware of who the people who suck the life out of you. You usually will know who that is because you walk away from an interaction with that person feeling drained, right? So be aware of I call them energy vampires. Be aware of the energy vampires in your life. And if there's any of those that you can remove, reduce, change how much you need to interact with them, whatever it is, do if you can, as much as you possibly can. The other thing is something that I've talked about in previous episodes, which is where we say yes to everybody else and we don't say yes to ourselves. If you are filling up everybody else's cup, but you never fill up your own cup, you are going to feel tired and you are going to feel resentful. And that will make you feel more tired, right? So, obviously, if you're going to have any energy, you need to do some things to help you with your energy. And that requires saying yes to you. So, it's whether it's yes to you to eat well, or whether it's yes to you to exercise, or yes to just some downtime for you, or whatever it looks like. But be really aware that we must look after ourselves and fill our own cup. If you're saying yes to everybody else, you're going to have issues with energy, right? It's just simple as that. So when I get people to look at this as stuff, I'd ask them to do like an energy audit in their life. Where are they getting energy from? Where are they spending it? Are they spending it where they want to? You're the only one that knows the answer to that. But some clues about things that you can change if you are spending it in places you don't want to be. So, the other thing, of course, is sleep. If you're working on 4 hours a night, you're going to be tired. Simple as that. So, if you're having any issues around your sleep, it is important to work on them and figure it out or get support. Go to your doctor, come to me, whatever it is. But you need to get your sleep right, because if you're not getting enough sleep, you're going to be tired. And sleep is kind of the foundational thing for everything else health wise. So, getting enough sleep is important. For many of us, it simply is lifestyle. It simply is that we don't go to bed early enough. We could choose to go to bed early, and it is a choice. It really, and I'm not saying always. I know there's exceptions to everything, but for many of us, it's a choice, and we don't make the choice to do that. We stay up late watching our favorite TV shows or whatever it is. Sometimes you just have to put that off until another time and get the sleep that you need, especially if you know you've got to get up really early the next day. So, sleep is essential, and generally speaking, for adults, 7 to 8 hours per night is considered essential. Anything less than seven, I think, is not enough. The next things that I wanted to talk about, I've already talked about people who drain you. Also, be aware of people who energize you, because you might have friends that you feel energized after being with. Maybe they're someone you want to spend more time with. But you just don't want to be around people who are doing the drama queen and they're the energy vampires, and they just make you feel depleted every time you're with them. Don't spend as much time with them. The other thing, and also like just getting involved in other people's dramas. Those people want you to get involved in all their dramas. Decide, it's what is it? Not my circus, not my monkeys. It's kind of a good saying, and kind of know what is your circus and what is your monkeys and what's not. And don't get involved in other people's circuses and other people's monkeys. I think we have enough in our own lives, essentially, is what it means. We have enough of stuff and drama and whatever that happens in our own lives without getting involved with anybody else's dramas, anybody else's monkeys, anybody else's circus. Having the energy for the whole circus thing, it's hard enough in your own life without doing it in anyone else's. So know when to buy into or not buy into certain dramas and things. Just because someone else has invited you to their drama party or their circus doesn't mean you have to go. So just think about those sorts of things. Think about where you need to say no and have better boundaries, and where you need to be more saying yes to yourself. Because remember, a no, a yes to other people is usually a no to yourself, right? The next thing is spend time in nature. I know it might sound silly, but a lot of us don't. I know that I spend a lot of time in here in front of my computer all day. I'm not in nature. So when I go out for a walk and I look at the birds and look at the trees and look at the flowers, just something about nature. Nature is really recharging and regenerating. And sometime in the sun. We've got to be careful, got to be sun safe, but you do get vitamin D from the sun, which will be helpful with energy and a whole bunch of things. Just that feeling that, in winter, you go out and sit in the sun for 5 minutes, that feeling, it's just, I find that really at first sleepy, but it sort of regenerates me as well. It's really good. So just time in nature. Nature is very healing. Go for a walk in the bush if you can, or in a park or somewhere nice, or just go and be in your garden. Take a cup of tea and sit out in the garden rather than inside and have it, and just enjoy nature, because it really is quite healing, nature. So, just checking through my list and seeing how many things we've got left. We've talked about vitamin D. And okay, so two more things. One is, actually, a few more things. So, one is chronic stress. And I've talked in this podcast, I've talked about stress in lots of different ways, and I will continue to. But not managing your stress well, not doing strategies to help you manage your stress. Chronic stress really does take a lot out of you. So just be aware that you will be feeling more tired if you're having kind of chronic stress, which is when you've really got to put as many strategies in place to support your health as you can, and say no as much as you can to things that just aren't important, or just aren't important right now. So the next thing is doing something that brings you joy. This might sound really silly, but so many of us don't. Once we grow up, we're grown up, and grown ups, we've got the jobs to do, and we've got to finish our work, and we've got to get the washing done, and we've got to get the shopping done, and cook the dinner, and look after the kids, and look after the parents, and look after everybody else. And we do nothing that brings us joy. And look, whether or not you've got all the time in the world or you're very limited with your time, there are things you can do. So, and I've talked about this before in the podcast, I'm sure different in different ways, but you can listen to your favorite podcast, listen to or read your favorite book, listen to some music, go and spend some time in the sunshine, go for a walk around the block, go out to breakfast with your girlfriends or coffee or whatever it is, paint, draw, art, craft, woodwork, whatever it is. Look, it doesn't matter what it is. What matters is that it brings you joy. And it can be just a 3-minute song, or it can be a day out at Comic Con or something like that, if that's your thing. Obviously, it doesn't, obviously, time and money and all of those things will affect what you can do, but there's always something you can do that might bring you joy. And think about what that is. What did you enjoy doing as a child? Just explore some things, because so many of us have spent so long saying yes to everybody else, we don't even know what we like anymore. But just things that bring you joy. And it might be intimate time with your partner, or just time with your partner anyway, just like date night, whatever, going out to your favorite restaurant. But do things that bring you joy, because if you're not getting any joy in life, what's the point? So find ways of bringing joy in, and you'll find that that helps to fill your cup. And it is that whole kind of just not enough downtime as well. We need to know, like, I know I've got to monitor my energy. When it's getting low, I start saying no to lots of things. And when it's higher, then I will say yes to more things. So you really just need to monitor that, and know when you need to be doing more, filling your cup. And when it's feeling empty. So kind of just checking in and seeing how you're feeling with that. Look, the other thing is, so a couple more things I'll say. The other one is kind of feeling disconnected. So if you are feeling disconnected and like you're not part of community, you need community in your life. So whether that is your family, whether that is, I've got sort of women's groups or networking groups that I'm a member of. It could be a craft group. It could be volunteering somewhere, whatever it looks like. Or even just going out to a cafe and just chatting to the people in the cafe where you have your coffee, whatever it is. Really, we need community. And so find a way that you can have community in your life, because we really do get energy from, being needed somewhere and showing up, and just having other human beings to talk to. I think a lot of us realize that over the whole COVID thing. And essentially, just kind of look at your daily habits, look at your choices, look at how much you're saying yes to yourself, how much you're saying no to yourself, and just change little bits and pieces. You don't have to do all of these things at the same time, but you might do a bit of an audit to yourself, look at what's coming in, what's going out, where are you spending your energy, who are you spending your energy on, where would you rather be, and just kind of make decisions one at a time of the different places in there that you want to approach to make a difference. Because it's not just looking at where energy is coming in, it's actually looking at where are you spending it. And sometimes that can be a really big issue. It's a bigger issue than where it's coming in, but obviously both matters. So you've got to look at the whole kind of both things, like where is it coming from, good sleep. Look, the other thing is moving your body. Moving your body, obviously exercise wears you out, but it also gives you energy, and it kind of helps you sleep. It wears me out, so I'm more tired. So then I do have more energy because I sleep well, because I'm tired. So exercise really helps. So, but essentially, if you're getting enough sleep, moving your body, eating all the right nutrition, your gut's good, going well, and then connecting with other human beings, whatever that looks like, practicing something that brings you joy, managing your stress, and then looking just at all those energy vampire things that are involved in your life, and how you want to balance that and how that might need to change. So I hope that was useful. Lots of strategies there. Don't think you have to do it all at once. Just you can try one at a time. I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you again next week. Thanks for joining me. Bye.